And welcome back, ladies and gents. It's Mr. Callen here with the team of Mrs. Oliver, Miss Earl, and Mrs. Chupp. One more day of talking about positive and negative integers, addition of those. You might imagine that eventually we'll be heading towards subtraction. Remember where we've been? Adding whole numbers, fractions, decimals, big and small, 2 and 2/3 plus 4 and 7/11ths. Remember, please, where we are now, 5 plus -3, -14 plus -28, and where we are going, positive and negative decimals, positive and negative fractions and mixed numbers, and lots of equations eventually with all of those computational skills. Basically, what we're talking about today is trying to move our way up on this picture, where before we could start off with hands-on stuff, putting some pluses and minuses on our desk in front of us or some colored chips, then maybe getting to draw a picture with pluses and minuses, or maybe we've talked about number lines and how negatives go down, positives go up. Ultimately, our goal is to be able to do this abstractly. That means just using numbers, symbols, sometimes variables. Let's see if we can eventually do it without drawing models or hands-on stuff. You should have your notes page in front of you entitled Adding Integers Discovery, where let's go ahead and read the directions together. Complete each problem below using the number line, or you may use counters or chips. And I wish I could say we could do this with our talk partner, but things are a little different with school this year. Then we're going to say, can you develop a rule, a pattern? Can you see anything that would help us get the right answer every time? Now, some of you are looking at these problems saying, Mr. Callen, I got this. I know how to do this. The answer is negative, and it's negative, say 11. That's great. In fact, if you can go ahead through the whole front side and write your answers down, perfect. But we still need you to be able to prove it. If you cannot draw a picture, we're not really convinced that you understand the mathematics behind it, that you're adding money or you're adding debt, that you're climbing up a ladder to a diving board, or that you're diving down and even can go diving down into the water. For instance, if I wanted to prove -5 and -6, I could put some chips there, some counters, some minus symbols. There's -6, here's -5. And now I prove that there are no zero pairs, it's going to be -11. If I go right below and just stick with this column, +2 is 2 plus symbols, +4, and that gives us 6. Now there are some number line lovers out there that are going to say, I'd rather do number lines, Mr. Callen, starting with -3, which goes to the left, draw a dot right above that. And when we add debt, when we add negative numbers, that's bad money. That's not good for us. It's going to even take us a little beyond the 10 to -11. Or we have -9, which goes way to the left, and then -1. Now, some of you are vertical number line folks. I myself am. So if we were to start at 0 and go down 9 and then down 1, yeah, that just verifies we're deeper underwater or deeper in debt. Now I want you to go ahead to the other side, pause the video if you wish, work out those 4 problems. And so if you're coming back to us, perhaps you did all number lines, perhaps you did all counters, maybe you did a mixture of both. That really shows the stronger understanding when you can do both. If I were to sit here and draw 6 positive symbols and then 9 negative symbols, yeah, I see we're finishing off in the negatives. Why is that? Because we now have a lot of 0 pairs. Some of you circle your 0 pairs while others of you slash them off. Quickly we see that 6 plus a -9 leaves us $3 in debt, or 3 feet below water. Doing the same with -5 plus +8. And again, we see some 0 pairs. Let's go ahead and get rid of those fellas, leaving us with a positive, but this time it's a +3. Now, if you want to, try to come up with your answer first. I believe we're ending up in the negatives, but if you need to verify that, let's draw a -3 to the left, and then a +1 to the right, leaving us 2 feet underwater, $2 in debt. And we can do the same here with a -2. This time we're going to add a +1 and 2 and 3. I've seen some students that even like to do the little hopping so that they count right. And that's perfectly okay, folks. If that helps you count a little more neatly, then do that little hopping 1 and 2 and 3. Either way, we're definitely in the positives here. And again, you number line folks that like vertical number lines, we could have seen the same thing if we go 2 down and then 1, 2, back at 0, up another 1. Excuse me. So if you could please, why don't you go ahead and complete the rest of that front side, but I will encourage you as you're going through this, I want you to look at the left column versus the right column. And I want you to see, okay, how are these similar? How are they different? Remember, ultimately, our goal is to come up with the answers without drawing any models. So at this time, why don't you go ahead and press pause, and let's see how you do on the final 4. And for those of you back with us, we'll go ahead and add 1 plus 8 to equal 9. Don't believe it. We can show you a quick number line here where 1 will go to the right and then 8 will go further to the right. Put 1 and 8 together and you see you're in the positives. And you counter or chip lovers out there, you're going to see -2, you're going to see -7. You're going to see no 0 pairs. In fact, you are deeper in debt. In this case, we're deeper in debt, -9. 5 plus -4, I see more positives than negatives. Let's verify that with our number line. 5 to the right, -4 will go to the left. Still in the positives, and in fact, once you get rid of all that and figure out how much remains, you're going to see a +1. And -3 plus 7, again, some of you just like the plus and minus symbols. -3, 7 pluses. Quickly, we see our 0 pairs here, leaving us with +4. No, you don't have to write the plus sign, but if you wish, you may. And so I'm going to stop right there. You may check your answers, fix your work if you wish. I'm going to go back to the other page, a little bit more problems to look at. And I want you to come up with, well, think about these questions. Look at the green column on the left, look at the blue column on the right. How are those two columns similar? What do they have in common? Now I'll say the obvious because there's no harm starting with obvious. Well, they both have pluses and minuses. They both have positives and negatives. They both have addition signs. Now, I want you to really think, how are they different? What do you see on the left that you do not see on the right? Or what do you see on the right that you do not see on the left? Now remember, the ultimate goal is to be able to work through these problems without drawing. Can you find those differences and come up or brainstorm your own rules, your own patterns? I'm going to encourage you right now, right in this little box, come up with your a couple sentences. It doesn't need to be a whole paragraph, although there's nothing wrong with that. Make it 2 good, complete sentences. Do you see any rules for adding the integers with the same sign, the green column on the left? Do you see any rules for adding integers with different signs, the blue column on the right? And that's all we have, ladies and gents, for today. We're not going to ask you to do the backside. I know some of you are itching to do it, so I won't be mad at my students if they start up the backside. But do so with caution. Beware, beware, danger, danger. If you really understand what's going on, you'll be able to do the entire backside without drawing any models. No number lines, no pluses and minuses. If you don't know what's going on, you are in danger of doing the entire backside and then having to go back and fix a lot of problems. So do so at your own risk, but if you want to go for the glory and save yourself some time the next day, feel free to go ahead and do so. Then when you're back in class, us teachers can help check your work. Hey guys, let us know if we can help with anything. Other than that, take care and let's grow.